Hi, this is Eric from Polar Music Company, and today we're talking about cables, and we're trying to explain some of the mistakes that people make when they go to the music store to get some cables and go home and realize they have the wrong thing. So this is a beginner video. If you already know about this stuff, you can just move along. Number one, instrument cables versus speaker cables. You already know what an instrument cable is, your typical guitar cord with a 1/4-inch jack on both ends. And that goes between your guitar and your amp, between your guitar and your pedals, between your pedals and your amp, between your keyboard and amp, etc., etc. The speaker cable, on the other hand, only has one function. It goes between an amplifier and a speaker, period. Well, sometimes you can use to tie up your trunk when you can close it. Some of you have done that, I know it. So let's look at the anatomy of the two cables to understand the difference. Instrument cables are built in a specific way. They are also called shielded cables because the ground conductor is wrapped around the positive conductor for the whole length of the cable to shield the signal against noise. Speaker cables are basically an electric extension cord. They are built with two separate isolated conductors designed to pass current with the least possible resistance. Unlike the instrument cable, they're not shielded. So what's the big deal, you ask? Why can't I use a speaker cable between my guitar and my amplifier? Well, this is what's going to happen if you do that. Not good, right? Let's talk about microphone cables now. Microphone cables are known as XLR cables. An XLR cable has two different types of connectors. One is the male connector that's always sending the signal out, and the female connector on the other end of the cable that receives the signal. It always go in that one direction. Now, keep in mind XLR cables can be used for other applications besides microphone, but that is going to be the subject in a whole different video about balanced versus unbalanced signal cables. Now, did you know what XLR stands for? Stick to the end of the video, I'll tell you. So microphone cables so far pretty forward, right? Until somebody comes in and asks for a cable to connect their microphone into, let's say, their guitar amplifier, which has a 1/4-inch jack input, or maybe like their little karaoke machine at home, which also has a 1/4-inch jack. So how do you go from XLR to 1/4-inch? That is the question. So let's remember that your typical handheld microphone, like your Shure SM58, for example, generates a very low impedance signal. On the other hand, your guitar input on your amplifier expects a very high signal impedance. So there's a problem here. We're trying to go from a low impedance to high impedance, okay? What happened if you do that? What happened if you just go from an XLR to just a 1/4-inch jack? Well, nothing is going to break, okay? You're going to lose almost 50% of your signal. And a lot of people have done this for years, not realizing that. So how do you fix that? Well, there's this little gizmo called an impedance transformer that goes between the end of your mic cable and to the input of your amplifier. This will correct the discrepancy between your microphone impedance and the input of your amplifier, and everything is going to be loud and clear like it's supposed to be. There's one important thing I should mention is that Polar Music Company, most of our speaker cables and microphone cables and guitar instrument cables are actually life warranty. So just remember that if your cable stops working, as long as it doesn't have physical damage, just bring it back in and we'll just give you another one, just like that. Oh, so what does XLR mean, you ask? Well, in the 40s, this guy called James Cannon invented the model, this XLR connection. Okay, the first model was called the X model. Then in 1950, they added this little latch here on the side, which secures the cable link in a mixer, for example, or any devices. And that's the L for latch. So that's the L for XLR. The latest feature was adding this little rubber ring around. I don't know if you can see it on the focus here. That will be the R for XLR. Okay, rubber. Hey, you learned something, I hope. Thank you for watching. Come to the stores. Do not forget to ask questions if you're not sure when you buy something. Thanks. Bye-bye.